In this week's episode, they are redefining the art of dance. But first, a medical condition that nearly destroyed his life is now propelling him forward. When a person suffers constant physical or emotional trauma, it may result in what is known as retrograde amnesia. It's a frustrating condition relating to a loss of memory. Eric Mbuyazi was once a retrograde amnesia patient following a terrible childhood. But a medical expert tells us it's precisely this condition that seems to have pushed Eric to prove that he is capable of achieving great things in life.
Woke up, I was writing a psychology test at 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Studied, and I was boasting. I even wrote on my first Facebook account that, hey, I'm gonna kill this test. Came to class, got a question paper. I wanted to say to the guy next to me, I'm gonna kill this, you know? That was the last thing I remember, looking at the question paper.
Eric Mbuyazi couldn't finish his exam that day.
When I tried writing the answers I knew I had in my mind, nothing came out. I went blank.
It was the beginning of a painful and frustrating episode in his life.
Started forgetting things. Now, this was bad because I would want to go to the next room, open the door and ask myself, what was I doing? I'd forget meetings. I'd forget a phone that's in my hand. Now, not the common forgetting of something you have. I'd forget that I have this phone in my hand for 30 minutes.
Eric was suffering from a rare condition called retrograde amnesia.
Retrograde amnesia is when a person has loss of memory for events immediately preceding the trauma that he or she has undergone. This could be physical trauma to the brain, or it could be severe psychological trauma. There is help, there's medication as well as psychotherapy and counseling to be able to bring back those lost and suppressed memories safely and to be able to deal with them productively.
Vaal Reefs in the northwest, where it all began for Eric. He was raised by a father who had a serious alcohol problem.
He beat us up, but more than anything, the abuse was evident with my mother, as well as my brother. My brother's 5 years older than me, and he would beat my brother up as if he's beating his peer.
Ubaba walabo bantwana wayesebenza, kodwa wayefana nomuntu ongasebenzi ngoba wayengabuyi nayo imali. Futhi ke wayengishaya isikhathi esiningi. Uma ngike ngasho nje into encane mhlasimbe ngithi silambile. Ngishayelwa lokho.
The abuse went on for years. It only stopped in 2001 when Eric's father was arrested. A court in the northwest found him guilty of molesting one of his daughters and sentenced him to 15 years.
It was sad, I don't want to lie, it was sad. It was painful in the sense that I didn't know how to explain to people when they asked me what happened at home. Where do I start?
Eric's family had to move on with their lives in the absence of their jailed father. In 2008, he managed to secure a bursary, enabling him to enroll at the Northwest University. This is where Eric's childhood trauma began to haunt him.
As I looked at him, I saw something was really very wrong. His pallor was pale. He didn't look good at all. He looked ill.
Doctors found he was suffering from retrograde amnesia, ordering him to quit his studies and focus on healing.
I realized 10 years later just to say, this is what I went through. And it's only now that I'm feeling the way I should have felt back then.
For the first time, Eric was now dealing with his emotions. A year after he committed to treatment, he showed incredible progress. His memory began to improve. The break also allowed him to think about what he wanted to do with his life.
I really learned that there's only one thing that could really make my life meaningful. Share the story that I have to share, because that's what I want to do.
Eric's new goal was to make a name for himself in the radio industry and to become a public speaker.
My gift is to speak from the heart, influence people, make people feel good about themselves.
He is also working on building his life coaching and tutoring organization. Miraculous for someone whose life seemed to be heading downhill not too long ago.
His trauma could have so engulfed him that he would have been immobilized. But instead, he suppressed those memories unconsciously and strove to better himself, such that he's made tremendous contributions and done things which he may not have done were it not for what he had gone through.
It is important to understand that retrograde amnesia is a curable condition. Treatment is available. If you know someone who may need help, you can call the number on your screen. After the break, find out why the world is excited about these young men from Soweto.